Let me tell you something that's going to change the way you see men forever. The thing men want most, they will never ask for, not because they don't care, but because they've been taught that asking for it makes them weak. I'm going to tell you what men actually want in relationships, not the surface stuff, not the things they'll tell their friends at a bar. I'm talking about the deep, psychological needs that drive everything they do. And here's the thing, most men don't even know this about themselves. They just know something's missing. They just know they feel empty or restless, or like they're constantly performing. I've spent years studying human behavior. I've worked with thousands of men, and I've seen the same patterns over and over again. So if you've ever wondered why the man in your life pulls away when things get good, or why he seems emotionally unavailable, or why he works himself into the ground, this is going to make everything make sense, because what men want is not what you think. Let's start with the big one. Number one, men want to feel irreplaceable, not important, not needed, irreplaceable. There's a massive difference. When you need someone, it means you can't function without them. That's dependency, and dependency doesn't make a man feel valued. It makes him feel trapped. But when a man feels irreplaceable, it means he knows that you could live without him. But you don't want to, because what he brings to your life is unique. It's him, not just any man. Him. Here's what this looks like in real life. Imagine a guy named David. David's been with his girlfriend for 3 years. She's great, she loves him, but when something breaks in the apartment, she calls her dad. When she needs advice, she calls her best friend. When she's planning a trip, she does all the research herself. David starts to feel like a placeholder, like he's just there, occupying the boyfriend position, but not actually irreplaceable. Now contrast that with this. His girlfriend asks him, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out this work situation. Can I get your take on it? I really trust your judgment on this." Or she says, "I love how you always know how to make me laugh when I'm stressed. Nobody does that like you do." You see the difference. One makes him feel like a generic boyfriend. The other makes him feel like he brings something to her life that nobody else can. And here's the psychology behind it. Men are hardwired to want to provide value. That comes from thousands of years of evolution where a man's worth was tied to what he could contribute. Hunt, protect, build. In modern relationships, that same drive exists, but it's more subtle. It's psychological. A man doesn't just want to be loved. He wants to feel like he earns that love through who he is, through his unique qualities, his perspective, his humor, his way of seeing the world. When he feels irreplaceable, he feels alive in the relationship. When he feels generic, he starts to check out. Number two, men want permission to be uncertain. This one's going to surprise you. We live in a culture that tells men they need to have it all figured out. Be confident, be decisive, know exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. And on the surface, men play that role. They'll act like they know what they're doing. They'll make decisions quickly. They'll project certainty, but internally, most men are terrified they're getting it wrong. I'll give you an example. A guy named Marcus is dating someone new. Things are going well, but one night she asks him, "Where do you see this going?" Internally, Marcus panics. Because he doesn't know, he likes her, he's excited, but does he see marriage, kids? Is he ready for that level of commitment? He doesn't know, and he's terrified that if he admits that, she'll see him as weak. Indecisive, not man enough, so he does what most men do. He gives a vague answer, or he deflects, or he says what he thinks she wants to hear, and the distance between them grows. Here's what men actually want. They want you to say, "I don't need you to have all the answers right now. I just need you to be honest with me." They want permission to be human, to be uncertain, to still be figuring things out, because the pressure to always be the strong one, the certain one, the one with the plan. It's exhausting. There's a concept in psychology called vulnerable strength. It's the idea that true confidence isn't about never being uncertain, it's about being honest when you are, and when a man feels like he can be uncertain with you without losing your respect, that's when he actually opens up. That's when the real intimacy begins. Number 3, men want to be chosen, not settled for. Let me paint you a picture. A man is in a relationship. Things are good on paper. She's wonderful, she's committed, but somewhere in the back of his mind, there's this nagging question. Does she actually want me, or did she just decide I was good enough? This is one of the most painful, unspoken fears that men carry. And it shows up in subtle ways. A woman says, I think we should move in together. It makes financial sense. Or, my friends are all getting engaged. We've been together 2 years. What are we doing? Or, you're the most stable guy I've dated. Now, she means well. But here's what he hears. You're practical, you're convenient, you check the boxes, but I'm not choosing you because I'm crazy about you. I'm choosing you because it makes sense. And that kills something in him. Men have this deep need to feel desired, not just loved, desired. They want to feel like you chose them because being with them lights you up, because you couldn't imagine being with anyone else, not because they're the logical choice. Here's a different version. A woman says, I love the way your mind works. I could talk to you for hours and never get bored. Or, I love how you make me feel when we're together, like everything's an adventure. Or, I'm with you because I want you, not because of what you provide or where we're going, just because it's you. That hits completely differently. There's actually research on this. Studies show that men's self-esteem in relationships is deeply tied to feeling sexually and romantically desired. Not just appreciated, desired. When a man feels like you're with him because you're genuinely attracted to him, because you choose him every day, he's all in. When he feels like you're with him because he's the safe choice, because he's good on paper, he starts to pull away emotionally. Number 4, men want space that doesn't mean distance. This is where so many relationships go wrong. A man pulls back a little. Maybe he wants a night with his friends. Or he needs time alone to recharge, or he gets quiet and withdrawn for a bit, and immediately the woman in his life panics. Is something wrong? Are we okay? Why are you being distant? And now, what was supposed to be space becomes a conflict, and the man feels suffocated, and the woman feels rejected. Let me explain what's actually happening here. Men process emotions differently than women, and I'm generalizing here, but this is backed by psychological research. When a woman is stressed or processing something, she often wants to talk it through. Connection helps her process. When a man is stressed or processing something, he often needs to withdraw. Solitude helps him process. It's not that he's shutting you out, it's that he needs space to think, to sort through what he's feeling, to come back to himself. But here's the problem. Most men don't know how to communicate this. So they just pull away, and that creates anxiety in the relationship. Here's what men actually want. They want you to understand that space doesn't equal distance, that needing time alone doesn't mean they're pulling away from you. It means they're taking care of themselves so they can show up better. A man wants to be able to say, hey, I need a few hours to myself tonight, without it turning into a big conversation about the state of the relationship. He wants you to trust that his need for space is not a reflection of his feelings for you. And here's the beautiful part. When a man feels like he has permission to take space without it being a problem, he actually doesn't need as much of it because he's not suffocating. He's not feeling like he has to choose between himself and the relationship. He can breathe, and when he can breathe, he comes back to you fully present. Number 5, men want to feel like they're enough, exactly as they are. This is the deepest one, and it's the one men will never say out loud. Because to admit you're afraid you're not enough feels like the most vulnerable thing in the world. But it's there in almost every man. Let me tell you about a guy named Chris. Chris works hard, he's successful, he's reliable, he's a good partner, but his girlfriend is always talking about other men. My friend's boyfriend took her to Paris for their anniversary. My ex used to write me poetry. I wish you were more spontaneous like my coworker's husband. She doesn't mean to hurt him, she's just expressing what she wants. But Chris hears something else. You're not enough. You need to be different. You need to be more. And over time, that eats away at him. He starts to feel like he's constantly falling short, like no matter what he does, it's never quite right. And eventually, he stops trying, because why put in effort if it's never going to be enough? Here's what men actually want. They want to feel like who they are at their core is enough, that they don't have to become someone else to earn your love. That you see them fully and you still choose them. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have needs. It doesn't mean you can't ask for things, but there's a difference between asking for a specific behavior and making him feel like he's fundamentally lacking. Here's how that looks. Instead of, I wish you were more romantic, you say, I love when you surprise me with little gestures. It makes me feel so special. Instead of, you're not affectionate enough, you say, I feel really connected to you when we're physically close. Can we make more time for that? You see the difference. One is about who he is. The other is about specific actions. Men are incredibly responsive to appreciation. When a man feels appreciated for who he is, he will move mountains for you. But when he feels like he's constantly being measured against other men, against some ideal he can never reach, he shuts down. Number 6, men want emotional safety without emotional labor. Okay, this one's nuanced, so stay with me. Men want to be able to open up emotionally. They want to share what they're feeling, but they don't want it to become a project. Let me explain. A man opens up to his partner. He tells her he's been feeling stressed at work, that he's questioning whether he's on the right path, that he's feeling a little lost, and she immediately goes into fix-it mode. Have you thought about talking to your boss? Maybe you should look for a new job. Have you considered therapy? Let's make a plan. She means well. She's trying to help, but he doesn't feel helped. He feels managed. Or worse, she gets emotional herself. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I had no idea you were feeling this way. Are you unhappy with us too? Now his feelings have become a burden, and he decides it's easier to just keep things to himself. Here's what men actually want when they open up. They want you to listen, not fix, not panic. Just listen. They want you to say, thank you for telling me, I'm here. That's it. That's the magic phrase. I'm here, and not, let me solve this for you, and not, oh my God, this is serious. Just, I'm here. Because when a man opens up, he's not always looking for a solution. He's looking for connection. He's looking to feel less alone in what he's experiencing. And when he feels like he can share without it becoming a whole thing, he'll share more. There's a concept in psychology called holding space. It means being present with someone's emotions without trying to change them or make them about you. Men need that. They need to feel like they can be emotional without it being a production, without it turning into a therapy session or a crisis. They want emotional safety, but they don't want emotional labor put back on them to manage your reaction to their feelings. Number 7, men want to be respected more than they want to be understood. This one's controversial, but it's true. Women often want to be understood. Do you get why I feel this way? Do you see where I'm coming from? Men want to be respected. Even when you don't understand, let me give you an example. A man tells his partner he's thinking about quitting his stable job to start a business. It's risky. It might not work out, but it's something he's passionate about. She responds, I don't understand why you'd give up a sure thing for something so uncertain. That doesn't make sense to me. And just like that, she's lost him, not because she disagrees, but because she's implied that if she doesn't understand his choice, it's not valid. Here's a different version. I don't fully understand the pull you're feeling toward this, but I respect that it matters to you, and I support you figuring out what's right for you. You see the difference. She doesn't have to understand, she doesn't have to agree, but she respects his autonomy, his judgment, his right to make his own decisions, and that respect is everything to a man. There's research that shows respect is one of the highest predictors of relationship satisfaction for men, even higher than affection in some studies, because respect says, I trust you to know yourself, I trust you to make good decisions, I see you as a capable, intelligent person. Understanding says, I need your choices to make sense to me before I can support them. Men don't need you to understand everything they do. They need you to respect them anyway. Number 8. Men want you to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. This is the secret weapon in any relationship. Every man at some point doubts himself. He wonders if he's good enough, smart enough, strong enough, if he's going to make it. And in those moments, he needs someone who believes in him even when he doesn't believe in himself. Let me tell you about a moment in my own life. I was building my business, and there were months where I wasn't sure it was going to work, where I thought maybe I should just give up, get a regular job. Stop trying to do something meaningful, and I remember someone in my life saying, I've never doubted you, not for a second, you're going to figure this out, I know you will. That belief from someone I respected kept me going. It became fuel when my own tank was empty. Men are the same way. They don't need you to fix their problems. They don't need you to have all the answers. They need you to believe in them, to say, I see what you're capable of. I see your potential, and I'm excited to see where you take this. That belief doesn't just make him feel good. It actually changes what he's capable of. There's a psychological concept called the Pygmalion effect. It's the idea that when someone believes in us, we rise to meet their expectations. We become more of what they see in us. When a man feels like you see greatness in him, he starts to act like the man you see, not because he's performing, but because your belief gives him permission to step into that version of himself. And here's what's beautiful about this. When you believe in a man, he doesn't just succeed for himself, he succeeds for you too, because your belief becomes part of his motivation. Number 9, men want to make you happy, but they need to know how. Here's a hard truth. Most men genuinely want to make the women in their lives happy, but they have no idea how, and they're terrified of getting it wrong. So they either do nothing, or they do the wrong thing, or they keep trying the same thing that used to work but doesn't anymore. I'll give you a scenario. A woman comes home from a bad day at work. She's upset, clearly frustrated. Her boyfriend sees this and thinks, I need to fix this. I need to make her feel better. So he offers solutions. Maybe you should talk to HR or update your resume or just don't let it get to you. And she gets more upset. You're not listening to me. I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to hear me. And he's confused. Because in his mind, hearing her and helping her are the same thing. Here's the disconnect. Men are often socialized to be problem solvers. When someone they care about is in pain, their instinct is to fix it. Because fixing it makes them feel useful. But women often don't want problems solved. They want to be heard, to be validated, to feel like someone understands, and men have no way of knowing which one you want unless you tell them. So here's what men actually need from you. Tell them how to make you happy. Be specific, not demanding, but clear instead of, you never do anything romantic. Say, I feel really loved when you plan surprise date nights. That means a lot to me. Instead of, you don't support me. Say, when I'm venting about work, I don't need advice. I just need you to listen and maybe give me a hug. That helps me feel better. Men are incredibly responsive when they know what you need, but they're not mind readers. And they're so afraid of getting it wrong that sometimes they just freeze. Give him a roadmap, tell him what lights you up, what makes you feel loved, what you need in specific moments, and watch how quickly he rises to meet you there. Number 10, men want to feel like they still excite you. This is the one that matters most in long term relationships. In the beginning, everything is exciting. You light up when you see him, you laugh at his jokes. You're genuinely curious about his day. You want him, but over time that fades, not because you love him less, but because familiarity sets in, routine takes over, life gets busy, and he starts to feel like he's just part of the furniture. Like your roommates who occasionally have sex, like the spark is gone, and here's what happens. He either pulls away or he looks for that excitement somewhere else, not necessarily another person, but work, hobbies, anything that makes him feel alive again. Let me tell you what men are actually craving. They want to feel like you still get excited to see them, like they still surprise you, like you're still attracted to them. Not just love them, attracted to them. Here's what that looks like. He walks in the door and you look up from your phone and smile. Not a polite smile, a real smile, like you're genuinely happy he's home. Or you tell him, I was thinking about you today, about that thing you said last week. It's been on my mind. Or you initiate sex, not out of obligation, but because you want him, or you laugh at his joke. Not a pity laugh, a real laugh, because he's actually funny and you forgot to notice. These seem like small things, but they're everything, because men tie their value in a relationship to whether they still have an effect on you. Whether they can still make you smile, make you laugh, turn you on when they feel like they've lost that power, they feel invisible, and that's one of the loneliest feelings in the world, so bring back the excitement. Not the honeymoon phase butterflies, but the genuine appreciation, the attraction, the curiosity. Look at him like he's still the most interesting person in the room, because if you're with him, he should be. Let me wrap this up with something important. Everything I just told you, men will never say out loud because they've been taught that having these needs makes them weak. That real men don't need validation or emotional safety or to feel desired. But they do, they absolutely do, and when these needs go unmet, men don't usually talk about it. They just disconnect, they get distant, they shut down, or they leave. And the tragedy is that the women in their lives often have no idea what went wrong. Because he never said anything. So if there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's this. Men are not as simple as the world makes them out to be. They have deep emotional needs. They crave connection. They want intimacy, but they need safety to express that. They need permission to be human. They need to feel like their vulnerability won't be used against them. And if you can create that space for the man in your life, everything changes. He opens up, he leans in, he becomes the partner you've been hoping for, not because you fixed him, but because you saw him, really saw him, and you made it safe for him to be seen. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from this video, just one, and try it this week. Tell him you see something irreplaceable in him. Give him space without making it a problem. Believe in him out loud. Show him you still choose him every single day. And watch what happens. Because the man who feels truly seen, respected, and desired will show up for you in ways you didn't know were possible.